right now I thought I'd like to get into some of the pieces in the collection that aren't necessarily repeats, things I have like one of, things that are kind of unique, things are a little different from a normal guitar collection. And for me, this Gretsch 5420T, I got it a couple years ago. It's probably 2015, 2016. As you can see, it is beautiful. Has the sort of, I don't know what they call those. I call them sort of cloud inlays, but they're not really. I know there's a name for them. I like the thumbnail inlays better, but I've always loved Brian Setzer ever since the Stray Cats came out years ago, and I've always loved rockabilly playing, and I've loved his playing. And I sort of thought if I got this kind of guitar, it might help me on my way. It's one of the things I don't do well at all. It kind of eludes me, that and straight up country. So I thought I would get this and decide to bite the bullet and get an actual Gretsch 5420T. These bad boys are made in Korea, but they are sweet. The only thing with this one is it does have a bridge rattle. It's got a, as you can see, it's got a Bigsby on it, which is just beautiful. It's all trimmed out in gold. But the Bigsby, the bridge, the two-pneumatic portion of the bridge has a little bit of a rattle in it. I've been trying to chase that down and get that fixed. I've been thinking about putting one of those bridges with, they don't necessarily have saddles, it's just a straight bar. It's an aftermarket bridge. But of course you have to have the neck, the fretboard radius exactly perfect in order to use one of those. But anyway, it's one of those things that you buy hoping that the fact that you spent money on it will force you to pick this up and learn some new guitar styles. I'm certainly not going to be playing thrash metal on this, but it's a beautiful guitar. Hopefully it'll get some more love from me very soon. This next guitar is a Washburn X Series. It's called like an X Series Pro, I think. If you can see that there, kids. It's got the sealed tuners. Very much a Washburn sort of headstock, which I like. I'm a big Nuno Betancourt fan. I love the N4. I picked this up on eBay. I'm not really sure too much about the model. I don't know what kind of pickups it has. The original pickups, basically a three-way switch, master volume, master tone. It has a graphic that not a lot of them have. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it's a custom graphic. It's certainly a factory graphic. I don't know if it's a decal or if it's paint, but it's I like the inlays on it. It has just the single dots up the side, which I really like. It plays really, really well. There's nothing about this guitar that really screams, you know, its own personality, but it's very, very versatile for doing all kinds of different things. It's 24 fret. It's probably a basswood body, maple neck, nice smooth, non-glossy finish, which I love. Flat fretboard radius, medium frets. And one thing I thought that was interesting about this when I got on eBay, I don't know if you can see this, but it has a matching strap that's pretty custom. This is not like a mass market strap that goes with it, along with these pins. I don't know if you can see that there, but I just got the feeling when I bought this that maybe there was a little bit of a sad story to it, in that it is obvious it had never been played, still had the plastic pickups on it. And if someone put that much into a strap, I didn't know if it's maybe a gift for somebody who either didn't like it, didn't accept it, maybe they passed on. I'm just not really sure if I'm going to keep this or not. This might be another one that I donate to Frets for Vets, but currently I keep it in E flat drop D, which is really drop C sharp tuning, for all the heavy, you know, kind of death metal kind of thing. I think maybe because of the graphics, it just kind of feels like that kind of guitar when I wanted to get in some like Pantera or Avenged Sevenfold or something like that. But anyway, beautiful guitar. Okay, now on to the basses. This is a Rogue bass. Rogue is like a brand I think that Musician's Friend used, probably made in Korea. Poplar body, nice straight, really, really fast neck. It's a maple neck, rosewood fingerboard. Two pickups, one split, one straight across the bridge, two volume, two tone. Put a fun little decal on there. Not a real expensive bass, just your plain bass that I've used for recording for about 16 or 17 years. So pretty much it gets me any kind of bass thing that I need, as long as it's not a 5-string bass. This guy does the trick. Super, super reliable. Haven't had a moment's problem with it since I bought it. I think I paid less than $200 for this thing new. It's a great bass. Well, this is my other bass, kids. You may recognize this particular bass. May look familiar from television, movies, A little band called the Beatles. Beautiful Hofner bass. This is the based on the iconic classic Beatle bass, and of course I have a Beatle strap to go with it because you just kind of have to. This isn't the real super expensive German-made Hofner bass. This is one that they decided to produce for the rest of us, but it's beautiful. It has a flame maple top, flame maple back. If you could see along the back of the neck and on the back and even on the sides, they did a sunburst finish, which is just gorgeous. Sunburst finishes are hand sprayed, so they're not real easy to do. I kind of sort of like the pickups-ish. It is a shorter scale. It's easier to hit some of the long stretches on this. It's pretty portable. It's super light. You can play it unplugged because it's resonant. I'm not real big on the German fussy switches here. That doesn't really get me where I want to be when I'm playing music. Just kind of a weird thing left over from the early 60s, and so to make it accurate, they put that circuitry in there. I mostly bypass that. I'm going to put flat wounds on it, I think, and lower the action a little bit. But I kind of bought this as a coercion to myself to finish a Beatles project that I've been working on. Sort of put a little bit of pressure, self-inflicted pressure there by making this purchase. But anyway, it's a super awesome bass, and I love it. Into acoustics now. I don't have a whole lot. My son has an acoustic at J. Tercer, which is absolutely garbage. But this guitar, I gigged on it for a couple of years, playing deck bars. It's a 12 string. It is a Seagull. I forgot for a minute what it was. It's a Seagull. They make really, really good guitars. They're made in Canada, so it is North American made. I just recently restrung this, and it's aging really, really well. But it has a cedar top, and I think it might be mahogany back and sides. I can't really remember. But it's a beast. It doesn't have any electronics. When I played it out, I used to put a Seymour Duncan Woody pickup that I still have. I put that in the sound hole. But this thing intonates really well. It plays really well. It really sings. And I could only afford to have one acoustic at the time. And I don't know what in the world made me buy a 12 string because it was brutal on the hands. But this thing, and when you're playing by yourself too, certainly the extra timbre from the 12 strings, all the extra high notes and stuff really helped fill out the sound, because I didn't have any accompaniment. There was no real drum machines, or there was no bass player, there were no solos. So this thing I gigged with it for a couple of years before I finally got an Ovation Celebrity Deluxe that I used for years after that. But this nice guitar, I don't play it that much, but when I need 12 string, here it is. Alright, I saved the two most expensive guitars that I have in the house for last. This is a Taylor. It's an 814 CE. I got it, I know exactly when I got it. I got it in May of 2010, so I've had it, gosh, 8 years now, and some change. This thing is beautiful. If you know what an 814 CE is, it's the second most expensive standard model that they make. Beautiful East Indian rosewood sides and back. The wood is just gorgeous on this thing. See in the headstock, it's got like an ebony overlay, I think an ebony fingerboard. It has the beautiful inlays in there, if you can see those, and a little bit of fancy stuff around the sound hole. If you could see that either, of course you can see the beautiful wood, but the actual binding on this is flamed maple, which is just stunning. And it has a cedar top, a spruce top. The Expression 2 electronic system in it. Used to be all the expensive guitars were way up on the wall, and somebody had to do a credit card print and get a ladder for you to be able to put your hands on them. And generally, I didn't have that kind of money, so I wasn't even going to touch those kind of guitars, but I was pretty skeptical. So I pulled one down off the wall at Mars Music in Virginia Beach. Played it for about 15 minutes, and when I went to hang it back up, my hands were shaking because it was the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my life. So it is not an inexpensive investment, but this guitar, and I think within 3 months of buying it, I'd written like 5 or 6 songs off of it. Songs just jumped out of this thing. It's absolutely gorgeous, stunning, beautiful. Everybody that touches it, plays it, sees it, loves it. It's killer. This is a Paul Reed Smith PRS Custom 24 10 top. Look at the flame on that one. Look at the flame on it. It's beautiful. And it has the 8515 pickups, It does some coil splitty stuff, but it's in the 5-way switch. Praise the Lord, you don't have to do any push-pull to get those in-between sounds. This thing will get you really, really good, like position 2 and position 4, convincing Strat sounds. The humbuckers are great. I know people complain about that these guitars are somewhat sterile and they don't love them. And this was another example of, and it has a just a beautiful mahogany back, the bird inlays with the extra design. And again, it was a 10 top, you know, from the Paul's Core Custom line, which I never thought. I got this experience PRS from Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center, and they treated me right. And one of the things that I was really tickled about is most of the color is faded whale blue, and most of the faded whale blue in the non-10 tops in the non-wood library, they have a painted back, and it's painted right here, so you can't really see how that wood pops out in the cutaway like you can normally. And it was a small thing, so I was thinking about getting just a regular top in violet, because the violet ones did have the clear backs. And this one too, the binding on this is also flame maple, kind of like the Taylor. And again, I was even more skeptical about big money electric guitars, because unlike acoustic guitars, I'm like, okay, you know, I play some guitars that are $1,900, $1,400, $1,600, but I was again wrong about expensive electric guitars, handmade, made in USA electric guitars, because this thing plays better than any electric I've ever touched. Any Gibson, any Fender, any custom shop. I've played R9s, I've played R8s, the Les Pauls. I've played, you know, all the Epiphones. I've played that entire line. Love Les Pauls. But this one, it is amazing, and it was so new off the factory floor when I got it. I got it in like the first weekend in June. It came off the floor like the last week of May, and we are into like mid-August now, and it still stinks. And I mean that in the best possible way. It has that, I wouldn't call it a new car smell. It's a new guitar smell, and it's the lacquer probably that they spray on it, the finish. And it doesn't really smell all that pleasant, to be honest with you. So, but it is finally just now fading. It was that new that you could still smell the spray on it. Ebony fingerboard, I do believe, standard on these. This has the slim wide neck profile, which I love. Or they call it pattern thin. There's a pattern wide. It's not the fatter one. It's the pattern thin, I think. But the guys at Chuck Levin hooked me up. I bought my first pedals from them in like 1985, so it was kind of cool to come full circle and to get my first PRS from them, because Paul Reed Smith himself worked in their guitar shop as a tech for a number of years, and they were one of the first larger music stores to carry his stuff when he was still making it in Annapolis. But anyway, this is one of those things that's just gorgeous. So happy and blessed to finally gotten my hands on one of these. But anyway, I love this guitar, and it's a winner. And just so you know, I'll probably be doing I'll do individual review demos of all these guitars. I didn't want to tie up a lot of YouTube time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. I need subscribers, because subscribers feed my kids, even though I have one kid. So tell all your friends. We're going to try and do some cool stuff here with this channel. And so thanks for watching.